Welcome everyone. I'm super duper excited to be going live here today. A few minutes before the time just to get everything ready here and make sure that everything's working correctly for another episode of Wellness Wednesdays. All right. Let me just first share to my page here. Oops. Let's go here. All right. Hope everyone's having an amazing day today. And I hope everyone's excited to finally tune in and discover all about IBS. So let's check here. All right, guys. Hi and welcome everybody. Okay, so we're getting started here for another episode of Wellness Wednesdays. Super excited to be going live again here on my business page and also everywhere else that I've just shared. So welcome and hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wellness Wednesday, the Gut series. So today's topic is super interesting, and of course my expertise, and one of the most common questions that I get a lot, and I'm super excited to be diving in. So I'd love to, just before we get started, kind of like understand where you're tuning in from. Like drop a hello, say hi, drop where you're listening in from. I'd love to know. I love to know all my IBS family all over the world. So let me know in the comments below where you're tuning in from. All right. So I'm excited today. I don't know about you, but I'm excited today. Today we're going to go back to basics. Now I've got my notes here because I really don't want to miss anything, but today we are going back to basics. I am always getting asked, well, Alessia, what is IBS? Especially from a lot of people online that don't know me very well, don't know what I do. So, today we're diving into the basics. What is IBS? Is it the same as regular bloating, gas, and your regular most common tummy troubles that normally a lot of people suffer from? How we can uncover the symptoms of IBS, and of course, what kind of symptoms you need to be looking out for. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So it's a good episode this week. All right, so if you're confused about your symptoms, if you've just been diagnosed with IBS and you've just been left to your own devices by your doctor and you're just unsure about what to do next, if perhaps you are still suffering with, uncontrollable bloating, gas, constipation, and you are just confused on whether or not that is IBS or maybe it's something else. Basically, you're just stuck in this confused mindset where you just don't know how to actually take action. Or perhaps you've tried a lot of things and you haven't still quite yet figured things out. You're in the right place. All right, guys, say hello and drop any comments that you have. I'd love to hear from you. And one thing I want to do as well is ask you guys to share this video. Lots and lots of people suffer with digestive issues. It's one of the most common problems out there. And IBS is actually huge, and a lot of people suffer with it in silence. So if you may know someone who has it, or someone who isn't sure that they have it, or they have tummy troubles, and share this video on your page and let's spread the wellness message, all right? So share that click that share button and let's help each other heal. All right. So if you've not met me and you're new on my page, hi, first and foremost, welcome. My name's Alessia and I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and I specialize in IBS, and I'm here to tell you that IBS is not a life sentence. I help busy professionals and women and men who suffer with IBS and chronic digestive issues, and I help them conquer IBS and beat IBS and all their tummy troubles, restore their gut health without restrictive diets and expensive supplements. I help you feel better physically, more at ease socially, and finally break free from food anxiety. So you can finally find food freedom and finally feel comfortable in your body and of course live your life freely. So that is what I do, guys, and I'm here to help you figure things out when it comes to your gut health. So I make weekly videos on my page, Wellness Wednesday Lives, and if you have questions or video requests, just pop them in the comments below. All right, guys, so like I said, I have my notes here simply because I ramble, okay? I have so much information that I want to share with you, that I want to help with you and help you on your journey to healing. And so I kind of have to put things, in compartments so I don't ramble and I don't go off on tangents. So I've got everything here that I need to talk to you about today, and let's get started. So the first thing I want to ask you is drop your biggest challenges in the comments. What are you currently struggling with right now when it comes to your tummy troubles, when it comes to your digestion? Drop it in the comments below, whether you do have IBS or not, whether you have bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, whatever it is. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to know where you're at in your journey, where you are right now in terms of your challenges. All right, so let's get started. So, what is IBS? Guys, this is something that I've been asked like at least 5 times already this week. What is IBS? IBS stands for irritable bowel syndrome, okay? IBS stands for irritable bowel syndrome. Pretty self-explanatory, right? So you have bowels, your colon, and that is part of your digestive system, and it's, a really, really big part of your the way you assimilate food and nutrients and how you digest food. But if things go wrong and you start having a lot of different issues when it comes to your bowels, you might have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Now, before I dive into the details and really dive into what it is and how you get it and all that good stuff, we have to kind of go back to the diagnosis. That is something super important. Because if you're not, if you haven't been diagnosed with IBS, or you haven't gotten real answers from your doctor, then you need to go back to the basics. You need to go back to the start and actually get a real diagnosis. But how is IBS actually diagnosed? Because this is something that's kind of confusing. There's no real specific test to actually diagnose you for IBS. There's no blood test or stool test or anything like that. And if you see one, it's a scam. But there is a specific diagnostic tool that's been created by a group of gastroenterologists in Rome, and it's actually called the Rome criteria. So this is the official test that you can do yourself, but it's better to do it with your doctor to make sure that that you're on the right track. So the Rome criteria is how you diagnose IBS. So there's 2 steps to the Rome criteria test. The first one is you have to have symptoms of abdominal pain or discomfort for 3 days consecutively for 3 or 6 months and beyond. So if you have symptoms that are persistent and you've noticed that they're constantly coming up over 3 days and they're happening 6 months 6 months straight or 3 months above and straight, then check, you might have IBS. The second one, which is probably the most important criteria, is you need to meet at least 2 of these 3 criteria. The first one is that your symptoms may be relieved after a bowel movement. So once you have a bowel movement, things are relatively okay. The second one is changing in frequency of bowel movements. So perhaps you go more or go less to the bathroom and you've noticed a change. And lastly is the texture or the appearance and consistency of your bowel movements. So this could be either diarrhea, or it could be mucus, or it could be really hard stools. So the consistency of your poop, that is what's going to show that you might possibly have IBS. So these 2 tests, these 2 criteria of the Rome criteria, is what's going to determine whether you have IBS. Now, this is largely what is used by doctors, by nutritionists and dietitians. However, there's also a few other things that you need to take into consideration that perhaps has contributed to you developing IBS, and that is a gastrointestinal infection, so a GI infection, perhaps a food intolerance, or high levels of stress in your life at that time, or you have mental health issues, and that is due to the gut-brain connection. I'm going to be diving into all of those things a little bit deeper in another Wellness Wednesday video, because this is a huge topic, but you've got to take those into consideration as well. So now we're looking at IBS. So you've been diagnosed, or perhaps you've discovered, okay, I perhaps might have it. Is it the same as regular bloating, regular gas, regular constipation? Yes and no. All right, this is where things can get a little confusing. Now, IBS is not a condition. It is not a disease. It is a syndrome. So a syndrome is a collection of symptoms, and the symptoms are bloating, gas, constipation, and diarrhea, or a mix of both constipation and diarrhea alternating with the other symptoms as well. So that is the collection of symptoms that is associated with IBS. So if you have those symptoms, you most likely have IBS. So it's really important to, understand what it is that you have. Now, since it's not a symptom and since it's not a condition, it's a collection of symptoms, it's super duper key that you first eliminate the risk that it could be anything life-threatening. So first of all, you need to go to your doctor, you need to get tested that you don't have Crohn's disease, that you don't have IBD or irritable bowel disease, that you do not have cancer or polyps, and that you do not have colitis or ulcerative colitis. Those are the most dangerous and life-threatening bowel diseases. So you need to figure out with your doctor and make sure that you do not have those things. Then once those have been ruled out, then your doctor is going to just dive in a little deeper. Perhaps maybe you have had a infection, or maybe you have SIBO or a food intolerance, or you may have IBS. So that is your first step. Get tested, get proper diagnostic tools from your doctor. Now let's look at the causes of IBS. Like, you're probably wondering, okay, so I have IBS, but what the heck has caused this? How did I get it in the first place? Now, I'll give you a little bit of my backstory. I suffered with IBS for more than 10 years, and I've put it into remission for the most part. I still occasionally have a few flare-ups, especially in stressful times and moments in my life where I don't have a lot of control over my food, generally when I'm traveling. But for the most part, I have put it into remission, and I work with clients to do that exact thing, to put their symptoms into remission. But what causes IBS? So when you have IBS, there's a very high level of inflammation in the body. So there's high level of inflammation in the body and in the gut as well. There's gut inflammation. There's also, perhaps, this is different with everyone, but there could be signs of leaky gut syndrome. So leaky gut is a very specific issue when it comes to the integrity of the gut lining. So your intestines have lining, and it's a mucosa lining, and when you have leaky gut syndrome, that lining starts to break down slowly over time until you start having a very thin line, and you start getting toxins coming in and out of the lining and going into your bloodstream, causing all sorts of issues. But leaky gut is a big issue when it comes to people who have IBS. There's a gut imbalance in the microbiome, the gut dysbiosis in the bacteria in the gut microbiome. So there's an imbalance of good and bad bacteria. Generally, those bad guys have gone totally out of control. And also, it's all accompanied by high stress lifestyle and bad diet, or the wrong diet. So that is what causes IBS, and that is what I suffered with for many years, a combination of all those things. And that's how I got IBS. And it, even though it's not a life-threatening disease, it completely destroys lives. I can truly vouch for this. I suffered with it for most of my teens, for most of my 20s, and it was unbearable. It ruined the quality of my life, and that's what made me want to become a nutritionist and want to help others with IBS, because I went through it, and I absolutely do not want you to have to go through it as well. So is there a cure? So you're probably wondering, well, okay, so I know I have IBS, or perhaps I have it. I'll get tested, but I think I have it, and I know what causes it, but is there a cure? The answer is no, there is no cure. But there's a good silver lining to all of this. The reason why there's no cure is because it's not a condition, it's not a disease. So once you get rid of the symptoms, you get rid of IBS. It's really quite simple. Not easy, but simple. So there is a possibility of putting it into remission. I do it with my clients. I've seen clients completely eradicate the symptoms and live symptom free. But the only way to do that is to address the root cause, because what happens is when you go to your doctor and you get diagnosed with IBS, or you've been told you have mild irritable bowel syndrome, maybe you don't have full-blown IBS, but maybe you have it mildly. What are you given? You're given a diet, usually very restrictive, most likely a low FODMAP diet, and no guidance whatsoever on how to do it properly. You also get most likely fiber supplements, or been told to eat more fiber. You are told to manage with laxatives if you're struggling with constipation. You're given band-aids, okay? You're given just band-aids that don't actually address that root cause. And this is what functional nutrition is all about, is addressing that underlying cause of what's going on. And that's what I do. And that's how we change what's going on. That's how we rebuild the gut. And that's how we actually make healing a possibility. So you've got to address those root causes. And I see this time and time again. I speak to loads of women and men who have tried it all. They've tried all the drugs, they've tried all the supplements, they've tried all the diets, and nothing has worked, because it's all just symptom management, and it's not symptom relief and getting rid of those symptoms from the root, pulling them out from the root. All right, so that is super important. So you've got to dig deeper. So I hope that makes sense a little bit more to you guys. So I've put down here 5 steps to uncover your symptoms, because how do you uncover your symptoms? How do you understand your symptoms? And how do you actually make sense of it all? So I've written down here 5 steps for you. The first one is that you need to rule out other GI disorders. Rule out anything else that could be going on. So that could be Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, colitis, polyps, cancer, IBD. Rule out that you do not have anything else. All right, that is really, really key. The second one is get tested for GI infections. Get tested for GI infections, and really, really super important to understand that. All right, and get tested for GI infections, and that could be SIBO, it could be parasites, it could be E. coli. It could be loads of different things, loads of viral infections, bacterial infections. So really, really key for that. Keep a food diary. So number 3 is keep a food diary. Uncover your symptoms by keeping a food diary. This is the biggest tool that you can use. I use it with my clients. So the first thing that we do together is uncover food intolerances and look deeper into the food that you eat, the bowel movements, just keeping track and understanding what's going on with your gut. And number 4 is practice an elimination diet. Discover what your triggers are, eliminate those triggers, and then finally reintroduce those triggers. So that means that you might have to reintroduce certain foods because you should not be on an elimination diet for forever, really. You should be on an elimination diet just for a short amount of time. Usually 3 months is enough to eliminate, rebuild, and then bring those foods back. I can tell you one thing that's super important, that what I did is that I really went down, really dug in and understood what was going on with my body and my gut, healed my gut, rebuild my gut, and then finally I can now eat a lot of the foods that I could never eat when I had IBS. So, and one thing I wanted to touch on just quickly on in terms of food is that I'm not going to dig too deep into this because it's a lot, but I'm going to go deeper into another video. But I wanted to share something that I'm going to be giving you for free at the end of the video, which is my ebook, 5 Myths About IBS That Are Keeping You in Pain and How to Ease Your Symptoms for Good. In this ebook, which is free by the way, I talk a lot about healthy foods that are actually compromising your gut integrity and actually making things worse for your IBS. So I want to share that with you guys. I'm going to actually drop the link in a moment down in the description of the video. Sorry, my phone is going absolutely mental. I'm going to just fix that for you guys so we do not hear any of that anymore. Sorry guys. Okay, so really, really exciting times. Why? Because IBS is not a life sentence. You can heal. I promise you, you can heal your body from the inside out. You can finally find food freedom. No more anxiety around your symptoms. You just need to know what to do and you need to have the right guidance, okay? Your doctor is going to help you uncover really what it is that you have, and then you need to go and work with a nutritionist and a coach that's going to help you get better, okay? So those are the 5 things. So takeaways, all right? Quick recap. Number 1, IBS is not normal. Bloating isn't normal. Constipation, diarrhea, gas, pain, it's not normal. So if you at all feel these things, get tested. Find out what's going on. Get tested first. Do not suffer in silence. Do not sit with your symptoms. Do not try to do it all on your own. I spent years doing things on my own and it took me a long time to discover what I know today, but it could take you way less than a year if you work with someone who is knowledgeable and who's been there already and who's gone through those steps before you. So number 3 is start tracking your food. Take control of your diet, okay? Start tracking your food, start tracking your bowel movements, start understanding and digging deeper. Grab that magnifying glass and look into your gut and see what's happening. And number 4 is take control of your health and lifestyle. It's not just diet, it's also lifestyle. It's really important that you look at other things like stress. This is a huge, huge one when it comes to IBS, and just start, paying attention. All right. So guys, I'm so excited that you guys tuned in, and remember, you can drop any of your questions down in the comments of the video. Now I'm going to share with you, like I promised, the link to download this free ebook that I created. And I created this free ebook because I wanted to share the 5 top myths that most people think or they're still stuck thinking about when it comes to IBS, that actually is keeping them in pain rather than moving forward and healing. So I created this ebook. It's really super amazing. It's comprehensive. It shares so much information and action steps that you can take immediately. So go down to that link, the subscribe page link, and grab your freebie. All right, guys. So I am so excited to, again, share with you all the information that I know, and it's all about connecting with people. This is what I love to do. I love to connect. I love to share information and share valuable insights to how you can heal your body from the inside out, because IBS is not a life sentence. You can heal, you can conquer it, you can live symptom-free and enjoy food and go out with your friends and have an amazing social life and rock your business, rock the corporate world, and succeed without having this debilitating condition control you, all right, and control your life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Remember, you can drop any of your requests for topics related to gut health, wellness, anything, you drop it, and I will try my best to go live and talk about those things and give you some practical tips so you can heal from the inside out. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next Wellness Wednesday gut series next week. All right, guys, see you next time. Have a fantastic evening. And remember, IBS is not a life sentence to your gut health. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.